So I'm Johnny Donnelly. I'm the director of The Hold, which is a doc about an amazing UK freediver called Alice Hickson. And the story goes on a visual journey through her mind as she holds her breath for 7.5 minutes and tells her story and her journey into freediving in the process.
Hello, I'm Ben, the editor of The Hold, working with Johnny very closely over a long period of time, I think we'd say, to build this piece and tell Alice's story, I think, really. So, yeah.
So within an independent film, obviously, it provides its challenges. What was the most challenging aspect of your production in particular?
The most challenging aspect was definitely the fact that the film takes place in real time. So Alice's static apnea, so breath hold record, is 7.5 minutes. So the plan essentially was to tell her story and her journey into freediving simultaneously as kind of showing what's happening to her while she's holding her breath, because it's such a complicated psychological process that she goes through and involves a lot of different kind of strategies and kind of brings up different elements of kind of her and her story and her past that kind of come to the fore. So she describes it in the film as like looking into a mirror, which I think is an amazing way of kind of describing what is quite an intimate process for her. And so for us, I mean, the edit, that was the challenge in the edit. We had 7.5 minutes to cram in as much detail as we could without it feeling overstuffed, but also kind of telling this amazing story and letting, it is a film about kind of her journey, her release as she freedives, so it needed to breathe in that way as well.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think some of the stuff that we've talked about as well, like probably in the pub just before this, is trying to talk about like feeling like you get to know someone in such a short space of time, and we do it over 7.5, 8 minutes, and it's like Alice has got a great story to tell. She's a great person to try and understand, and that's definitely the challenge of feeling like if you watch a film like this, do you get the sort of the very interesting sport that she does, but the mental side of it behind and what she goes through as well, and doing that without sort of spending too much time doing it. And there's a lot to cover, I think, as well in a short space of time. So that's always, time is such a big parameter for us in the film. So yeah, it's a huge part of it.
Let's flip the question now, the positive. What was the most rewarding kind of aspect of making the film?
I would say all of the kind of creative collaboration that happened over the course of the film, because the idea of the film is that it's immersive. Like, we're trying to immerse ourselves in her mind while she's holding her breath. So every single element. So visually, this film is kind of taking place in her imagination. So it's the aim, sort of working with DP Jack Worrell, was how do we kind of elevate the style so that it kind of suits that kind of imaginary process that she's going through, and then working with the composer Matt, again, it's like how do we kind of build the score so that it's immersive and kind of plays on all these different themes. An amazing underwater cinematographer, James Adair, who it's great working with him and seeing his process. I can't shoot underwater, so it was amazing watching him kind of do his work as well. From sound designers Tennyson to the safety diver Nara, there's so many people that kind of help bring this together. Obviously Ben. So it's every person involved in this film made it better in their own way, which is kind of everything that I could have hoped for. So I'm very grateful to everyone that worked on it.
You said it all. So there's one thing you want the audience to take away from the film, whether it be a bit of knowledge or emotion, one specific thing you'd like them to take away from the piece?
I would say that Alice's story is very inspiring. I think stories that kind of portray somebody who's found that thing in their life that gives them meaning and purpose is just a very inspiring thing. So I guess that's kind of it. It's an inspirational story, kind of told in a way that we felt was really interesting, which is this kind of real-time element.
Yeah. And how long can you hold your breath for?
Not long at all. I've tried and failed several times. Yeah, no, in the film, there's like a stopwatch that appears several times during the film. And the first time it appears at about 30 seconds. We're like, that would be me. About 30 seconds. But yeah, no, better behind the camera than in front of it.
Well, enjoy the screening, guys. But pleasure having you, and I'll see you in the Q&A. Brilliant. Cheers.